Hey everyone, welcome back to Breathe Easy, the podcast where we talk real world respiratory care, workflow, and the things that actually show up at the bedside. Today we're going to walk through the Ambu Ambuscope 5 and the AView 2 Advanced System. This is found in the ICUs at ECU Health Medical Center Adult Services. Specifically, this is from an RT perspective, not how to perform the bronchoscopy, but how we support it. Suction, sampling, troubleshooting, and knowing when and how to set it up when things don't go so smoothly. If you've ever been called into a bronch because suction isn't working, sample isn't collecting, or the image suddenly disappears, this episode is for you. Before we jump into buttons and knobs, let's zoom out for a second. This scope paired with the AView 2 Advanced in a single-use flexible bronch system, you'll see this in ICU, the step-downs, maybe in the OR, but you'll be at the bedside. Often, this is used in higher acuity situations where time and sterile procedure matters. From an RT standpoint, our role is supportive but critical. We're not performing the bronch, but we are often the ones making sure the equipment works, the suction works, and the workflow stays smooth. Think of us as a safety net. We power it on, confirm the live image, set up the suction, help troubleshoot so the provider can focus on the patient. This Ambuscope system is a single-use flexible bronch platform designed to provide consistent performance, sterile workflow efficiency across ICU, OR, and bedside environments. The system consists of the Ambuscope 5 single-use bronchoscope paired with the AView 2 Advanced Portable Full HD display and processing unit. For respiratory therapists, understanding this system is essential because RTs are often present during the bronch procedure and may be asked to assist with setup, suctioning, specimen collection, or troubleshooting when issues arise. The single-use nature of the Ambuscope 5 eliminates reprocessing delays and cross-contamination risk, but it also means that malfunctioning scopes cannot be repaired and must be replaced promptly. The AView 2 Advanced Monitor provides a 12.8-inch Full HD touchscreen battery operation for greater than 3 hours and intuitive plug-and-play connectivity, allowing rapid deployment in emergent or bedside situations. RT responsibilities could be including powering the monitor, confirming that the live image acquisition, ensuring proper section setup, and verifying that all components are ready before the procedure begins. Importantly, RTs don't perform the bronch or make procedural decisions. Rather, they support the providers by maintaining the equipment function, assisting with the suction and sampling when requested, and recognizing problems early. This clear delineation of roles protects patient safety, supports providers, and aligns with the scope of practice expectations set by medical leadership. Also, nursing cannot assist with this because they are also given sedation at this time. Now, let's talk about what usually generates the most questions: suction and sampling. The Ambu sampler allows suctioning and specimen collection without breaking the circuit, which reduces contamination risk and keeps things efficient during BAL or bronchial wash procedures. This is where the therapist being familiar really matters because small setup errors here can derail the entire procedure. Here is where most troubleshooting starts: the selector knob. The knob toggles between suction and sample, and an incorrect position is one of the most common reasons suction isn't working or samples aren't collecting. In suction mode, while suction clears secretions or blood, in sample mode, fluid is diverted into the specimen cup for diagnostics. When assisting with a BAL, therapists may be asked to activate suction after saline installation, monitor return volume, and then return the selector back to suction once sampling is complete. And remember, gentle suction matters. Too much negative pressure can collapse the airway and actually worsen the sample yield. We're going to play the vendor demo video, but I want to frame how to watch it as a respiratory therapist. This video isn't replacing hands-on training. It's giving us standardized reference. As you watch, pay attention to how the sampler cup attaches and how the selector knob is used, and the sequence of suction versus sample collection. Also watch for mistakes because those are the same ones you'll be troubleshooting at the bedside.
Ambuscope Bronchosampler is a sterile single-use device designed as a functional extension of Ambuscope 4 Broncho for bronchoalveolar lavage and bronchial wash procedures. Together with Ambuscope 4 Broncho, The solution is designed to enable aspiration and collection of fluid samples from the bronchial or alveolar part of the lung. The broncho sampler solution is comprised of three parts: the sampler bridge for connection to Scope 4 broncho, a vacuum source, and a sample container. The sample container that connects to the sampler bridge and holds the retrieved sample. The suction adapter for connection of male-style suction connection if needed. When assembled with Scope 4 broncho, the broncho sampler becomes an integrated part of the scope that creates a closed loop for aspiration of fluids, and the system offers suction flow control to enable easy switch between general suctioning and sampling. Before you open the Scope broncho sampler, visually inspect the packaging to make sure the seal is intact. Open the product carefully. Note the protective area for each component and the two placement cabinets where the sample containers can be placed after sample collection. Assemble the solution by connecting the sampler bridge to the Scope 4 broncho and engage the attachment lock to secure connection. This will integrate the components. Then connect the suction tubing with or without the suction adapter as needed. Finally, connect the sample container and ensure it is clicked on. You now have a sampling solution that is fully integrated into the Scope 4 broncho. The Scope and broncho sampler solution can be operated with either hand. Please note the vertical alignment of the flow switch pointing towards the suction tubing, meaning that the solution is ready for general suctioning. This is the standard configuration, and the broncho sampler is always delivered in this setting. The flow switch is operated by turning the knob between the flow arrows to direct flow, turn leftwards to prepare for sampling, and back for suctioning. When you are ready to suction, activate suction by pressing the suction button on the Scope 4 broncho with your index finger. To prepare for specimen sampling, turn the flow switch counterclockwise towards the sample container and align it horizontally. When suction is activated, the aspirated sample will be collected in the sample container. Fluids are instilled through the Scope 4 broncho by inserting a syringe into the working channel port. When using a Luer lock syringe, use the included introducer. Insert the syringe completely into the working channel port or the introducer, and press the plunger to instill fluid. If the introducer is kept inside the working channel, please note that the suction capability will be reduced. For optimal suction capability, it is recommended to remove the introducer or syringe entirely during suction. Perform sampling by pressing the suction button on the Scope 4 broncho. Do not fill the sample container above the maximum of the volume indicator scale. Remove the sample container by pressing the flip top and pull the sample container from the sampler bridge. Close the sample container by pressing the sample container lid towards the sample container interface and engage the click lock. Once the click lock is engaged, do not reopen the lid. Repeat to obtain as many samples as needed. Disengage suction by pulling the suction tube off the sampler bridge. If needed, you can detach the sampler bridge from the Scope 4 broncho by disengaging the attachment lock and pull the sampler bridge off the Scope 4 broncho. If needed, the sample can be accessed by unscrewing the sample container glass counterclockwise.
Manufacturer-provided education is a critical component of the safe device utilization, and the Ambu demonstration video serves as the standardized reference for proper suction and sampling technique with the Ambuscope 5 system. The video visually demonstrates how the sampler cup attaches to the scope and how the selector knob controls versus sampling, and what correct specimen collection looks like during the BAL. For therapists, the value of that video lies not in replacing hands-on training, but in reinforcing the correct workflows, such as highlighting common user errors, or such as leaving the selector in the wrong mode or failing to confirm suction setup. During education sessions, RTs should actively watch for these key elements and mentally connect them to real-world scenarios encountered in the ICU and at the bedside. The video also supports competency by providing vendor-validated instruction that can be referenced during audits, onboarding, or policy development. And when embedded or linked within the presentation, the video becomes a shared mental model for providers and therapists, ensuring consistent expectations. Therapists should be able to articulate what they observed in the video, explain how it translates at the bedside, and identify when intervention or troubleshooting would be required during a live procedure. So the real value of that vendor video is translation. Can you take what you saw on the screen and apply it to a busy ICU room with alarms going, oxygenation concerns, and multiple people at the bedside? Respiratory therapists should be able to say, here's what I'm watching for, here's how I know something isn't right, and here's when I need to speak up. This is also why these videos are helpful for onboarding, audits, and competency validation. So let's talk through what we actually see in practice. No suction. First, check the selector knob, then the wall suction, then the tubing. Poor sample return. Confirm the sample mode. Coordinate saline installation and think mucus plug, and use gentle suction. Did you lose the image? Check the power, cables, scope seating, and if it doesn't resolve quickly, replace the scope. Don't troubleshoot a single-use device beyond reason. Throughout all of this, communication is key, and the respiratory therapist step-in support is about equipment operation and safety while the provider maintains procedural control. That teamwork is what keeps these procedures efficient, compliant, and safe. At the end of the day, confidence with this equipment allows us to show up calm, prepared, and effective, even when things don't go perfectly. Thanks for breathing easy with me today.